Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you for a second. You, yes, you, woman of strength, of grace, of fire, you've been through some things. Life has hit you hard. Maybe you've prayed, cried, screamed into the silence, and still nothing. No answers, no signs, just stillness. Trusting that even in the darkest night, he's still the light. Even in the silence, he's still speaking. You may not feel him, but he's there. Always has been, always will be. You ever notice how gold is refined? Fire, intense heat, and yet it comes out more valuable. That's you. That's your story. That fire, it's not to destroy you, it's to refine you, to prepare you for something greater. Don't you dare give up now. You didn't come this far just to come this far. You've been equipped with everything you need to make it. You just don't see the full picture yet, but trust me, he's painting a masterpiece. When life is loud, when the pain is heavy, when the answers don't come, that is when trust matters most. Anybody can trust when it's easy, but you've got a kind of faith that scares the devil himself. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Positioned for a blessing so big, so bold, that you'll look back and say, now I get it. That pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning. So keep walking, keep praying, keep praising. When it hurts, when it's quiet, when it makes no sense at all, because one day, not maybe, one day, you'll wake up and see that everything he promised, he kept. Every tear was counted. Every prayer was heard. Every step you took in blind faith, it mattered. He's not done with you yet. He's just getting started. Woman, trust God. Even when life doesn't make sense, because he will bless you in ways you never imagined. And that's real talk. Faith is not about understanding, it's about trust. If we're honest, most of us want answers. We want to know why things happen, when they'll get better, and how the pieces will fit together. We crave clarity because it gives us a sense of control. But faith asks something entirely different. It asks you to let go of your need to see the full picture and to believe anyway. It's not about logic. It's not about evidence. It's about placing your confidence in something bigger than yourself, even when the path is unclear. Trust begins where understanding ends. When you don't understand why you lost something, why you were left behind, why doors closed, faith whispers, keep going. You may not have all the answers, but trust says, I know the one who does. And that's enough. Trust leans in when life pulls away. Trust stands when your knees are shaking. Trust believes that God is still working, even when all you see is silence. There will be moments when nothing makes sense. You'll feel like giving up, like the pain is pointless, like your prayers hit the ceiling. But that's when faith truly lives, not in the sunshine, but in the storm. Real faith is forged in the unknown. It's walking forward without a map. It's choosing to believe in purpose, in promise, in divine timing, even when all logic says otherwise. Faith isn't about figuring it all out. It's about surrender. Surrendering your timeline, your expectations, your need for control. And instead, resting in the assurance that God knows what he's doing, even when you don't. That kind of trust isn't weak. It's power. Quiet, unshakable power that says, I may not understand this chapter, but I trust the author. Life will bring confusion, but God remains constant. There will be seasons when nothing lines up, when the people you counted on walk away, when your plans fall apart, and the path ahead disappears into fog. In those moments, confusion settles in like a heavy weight. You ask questions that don't have answers. You search for meaning in chaos, hoping for a sign, a reason, something to hold on to. But life doesn't always give you clarity. It gives you detours, delays, disappointments. And it's in that very place where things stop making sense that you discover something deeper. God doesn't change. Everything around you might be shifting. The ground may feel unsteady. Emotions can rise and fall like waves. But God, He stays the same. His nature doesn't wobble with your circumstances. His promises don't expire because your timeline feels off. While the world spins in confusion, He stands outside of it, unchanging, unmoved, and unwavering. That's the anchor you cling to when you feel like you're drifting. His character is consistent, even when your circumstances are. You might not recognize the season you're in. You might not see how any of it fits together, but you can rest knowing that God isn't trying to figure it out like you are. He's already written the ending. He's already made provision. Confusion may cloud your mind, but it never clouds His vision. He sees the whole picture. He knows the route, even when all you see is the roadblock. And that's why your confidence doesn't have to come from how clear things are. It comes from how consistent He is. Life may leave you questioning, doubting, wondering, but God stays faithful, present, and true. When everything changes, He remains the one thing that never does. Your pain has a purpose beyond your comprehension. It's easy to believe that suffering is meaningless, that the wounds you carry are just scars from battles you never asked for. But pain is rarely without reason, even if the reason is hidden in a part of the story you haven't reached yet. The moments that break you, the nights filled with tears, the disappointments that silence your prayers, none of it is wasted. They are shaping you, molding you, refining you into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient than you were before. Pain stretches you. It forces you to confront parts of yourself you didn't know existed. It uncovers hidden strength, deepens your empathy, and teaches you to depend on something greater than yourself. And while it may seem cruel in the moment, pain often becomes the very thing that opens your heart to transformation. Sometimes it takes being broken to become whole in a new way. Sometimes it takes losing your grip on everything familiar to realize what really holds you together. You may never understand it fully. The why might never be answered in a way that satisfies your heart. But that doesn't mean there isn't purpose woven through it. There are lessons in the loss, beauty in the ashes, and growth in the ground you thought was barren. What feels like destruction might actually be construction. God building something in you that can only be built through fire. Your story, with all its pain, will one day be the light for someone else in the dark. You are being prepared for something greater, something eternal. Pain is not the end of your story. It's a part of the process, one that reaches far beyond what your eyes can see or your heart can grasp right now. Delay is not denial. God works in divine timing. When the answers don't come quickly, when the doors don't open right away, it's easy to believe that maybe God said no. But silence doesn't mean absence, and waiting doesn't mean rejection. Sometimes the wait is the very space where God is doing His deepest work. He's aligning people, preparing situations, and molding your heart to carry what you're asking for. The delay isn't to punish you. It's to protect you, to prepare you, to position you. We live in a world that thrives on instant results. We want quick breakthroughs, immediate clarity, and fast solutions. But God doesn't operate on our schedule. His timing is rooted in wisdom, not in urgency. He sees what you can't. He knows what's around the corner, and he's never early or late. He's always right on time. When you try to rush what he's growing, you risk stepping into something you're not ready to hold. Sometimes the blessing you're praying for needs time to mature. Sometimes you need time to mature. And that waiting season, it's not a void, it's a classroom. You learn trust, patience, endurance. You learn to worship without answers, to believe without seeing, and to stand even when your knees feel weak. It may feel like nothing is happening, but delay is often a disguise for development. You're not stuck. You're being strengthened. God's promises are not fragile. They don't expire with time. What he spoke will come to pass, but it will happen when it's supposed to, not when you demand it. The timing you think is perfect may not be the time that is perfect. Divine timing is about purpose, not pace. So when it seems like it's taking too long, remember, a delay from God is never a denial. It's a setup for something greater. Trees dig their roots deep when winds try to uproot them. And you grow stronger not in spite of the struggle, but because of it. It's easy to wish the pain away, to want the process to be over. But struggle has purpose. It refines, it sharpens, it prepares you for what's ahead. You may not feel strong while you're in it, but the very fact that you keep showing up, that you keep moving forward, is proof that strength is rising. The tears you cry don't make you weak. They're evidence of your fight. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the quiet whisper that says, "I'll try again tomorrow." Every time you choose to keep going in the middle of the struggle, something powerful is being born in you. You are not just surviving, you are becoming. God sees what you can't. He's already in your tomorrow. The path ahead might look blurry to you, and the road you're walking on may feel uncertain, but rest assured, God is not only with you in your present, he's already in your future. You may be standing in the middle of a situation that feels overwhelming, wondering how everything will work out. But what you don't see is that God is not limited by time. He sees the end from the beginning. He knows the twists and turns, the opportunities and the obstacles that are ahead of you. And he is already at work, preparing the way. When you feel stuck, when the answers seem far away, remember that God's perspective is eternal. He sees the bigger picture, the one you can't even fathom. What might look like a setback or an obstacle is part of a much greater plan that you can't yet comprehend. The delays, the detours, the hardships, they aren't signs that he's forgotten you. They are the very things that are setting you up for something greater. He's already paving the way, working behind the scenes, aligning everything perfectly so that when the time is right, you'll step into what he's prepared for you. The beauty of trusting in God's timing is knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to see every step. He's already where you're going. You just need to keep moving forward in faith, trusting that he's got it all under control. When life gets difficult, when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are, hold on to the truth that he's already been where you're going. Your tomorrow is in his hands, and he's leading you toward it with perfect precision. Your tears are not wasted. They water your future harvest. In the midst of pain, it often feels like everything you're going through is futile, like your suffering is pointless, or that your tears are just a sign of weakness. But the truth is, those tears are not in vain. They are the soil where your future growth begins. This is a farmer plants seeds in the ground and waters them with care. Your tears are the rain that nourishes the seeds of hope, faith, and strength that will bloom in due season. Every tear that falls is a mark of perseverance. It is a sign that even though you're hurting, you haven't given up. You're still pressing forward. You're still moving, even when the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And in that, God is working. Your tears water the ground of your soul, allowing new things to grow. What feels like loss today is preparing the way for gain tomorrow. What seems like an end is often a beginning in disguise. Just as a plant requires water to grow, your faith needs the struggle to thrive. Your tears are watering something that will yield a harvest far beyond what you can see right now. That pain will eventually bear fruit, fruit that will not only strengthen you, but will bless others. When you look back, you'll see how every tear shed was part of the process that led to something greater. Your harvest isn't just about what you receive. It's about what you give to the world from the strength, wisdom, and grace you've gained. Those tears were not wasted. They were preparing you for something powerful. Your future is growing from the very pain you think is holding you back. Even in silence, God is still speaking through your situation. There are moments in life when you feel as though God has gone quiet. Your prayers seem to echo in an empty room, and the answers you so desperately seek don't come. It's easy in those moments to believe that God is absent or that he doesn't hear you, but the silence doesn't mean he's not speaking. Sometimes silence is his way of working in ways you can't see. God often speaks through the quiet spaces in ways that don't demand immediate attention. His voice isn't always a loud declaration. Sometimes it's the soft whisper in your heart, the subtle shifts in your spirit, the signs in your environment that guide you. He speaks through the seasons of waiting, teaching you patience and trust. The silence is often a time of preparation, of deepening your faith, of growing your capacity to hear him in new ways. When you can't see the outcome, when everything feels uncertain, God is still at work behind the scenes. He's using the quiet moments to shape your character, to refine your understanding, and to bring you closer to him. Just because you don't hear an audible voice doesn't mean he's not speaking. Sometimes he is leading you through the silence, teaching you to rely on him, to trust his timing, and to wait with hope. The silence isn't abandonment. It's an invitation to trust that even when you can't hear him, he's there. Even when you can't see the end, he is already working things together for your good. So in the quiet, don't give up. Don't think you're alone. God is speaking through your situation, even if the words haven't arrived yet. Your story will be someone else's survival guide. Everything you've been through, the heartbreak, the loss, the confusion, the moments when you wanted to give up but didn't, none of it is wasted. It's not just part of your testimony, it's part of someone else's rescue. The pain you've endured is producing a message. possible. And one day, someone will need to hear exactly how you made it through. So often we go through things thinking we're alone, that no one could possibly understand what we're facing. But when you've walked through the fire and come out stronger, you become living proof for someone still standing in the flames. Your honesty about the hard parts of your journey, the moments you broke down, the nights you cried out to God, the times you almost let go. Those moments will be light to someone else's darkness. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be real. Your story doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. In fact, it's the cracks, the struggles, the imperfections that speak the loudest. People don't need polished. They need truth. And your truth carries weight because it's been lived. What once felt like your greatest weakness might just become your greatest witness. Someone out there will need to know that healing is possible because you found it, that peace can come after chaos because you lived it, that faith can survive the fire because you walked through it. God doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. And the day will come when you'll share your story and someone else will take a breath they haven't been able to catch in a long time. Because you lived, they'll find the strength to keep going. The storm doesn't cancel the promise. Just because you're facing chaos doesn't mean God changed his mind. The winds may be strong, the waves may be high, and everything around you may feel unstable, but the promise still stands. Storms come to shake you, to distract you, to make you question everything you heard in the quiet. But they don't have the power to undo what God has declared over your life. The promise wasn't made based on perfect conditions. It was spoken with full knowledge of the storm ahead. God doesn't promise smooth sailing. He promises safe arrival. That means you may get bruised, you may get tired, but you will reach what he called you to. The storm might delay you, it might test you, but it won't destroy the destiny written over your life. Storms are not signs of abandonment. In fact, they're often confirmations that you're on the way to something significant. Opposition increases near breakthrough. Resistance shows up when you're close to something real. When you're in the middle of it, it's hard to remember what God said before the storm began. But that's when you anchor your soul to the truth. What he spoke in peace still stands in chaos. You hold on to the promise, not the pressure. You fix your eyes on the word, not the wind. The storm is loud, but it's not in charge. It doesn't rewrite your future. It doesn't revoke your calling. It's just a part of the journey, not the end of it. God is not intimidated by the storm surrounding you. He sees beyond it. He's using it to strengthen you, to clarify what matters, to strip away what can't go with you to the next level. The promise is still alive, even when all you see is rain. When you don't feel him, trust his track record. Emotions are real, but they're not always reliable. There will be days when God feels distant, when your prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling, and the silence weighs heavier than the questions. In those moments, your feelings will try to convince you that you've been forgotten, that you're on your own, that maybe this time God won't show up. But faith isn't built on feelings, it's anchored in truth. And the truth is, God has never failed you before. Look back. Look at all the times you didn't think you'd make it, but somehow you did. Look at the doors that opened when it looked impossible. The peace that came when it didn't make sense. The strength you had when you should have fallen apart. That wasn't luck, that wasn't coincidence, that was God. He showed up then, and he will show up now. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. His silence does not mean his absence. It simply means he's working in a way you may not yet understand. When your emotions waver, let your memory remind you of his faithfulness. Your history with God is a weapon against doubt. You may not feel him in the moment, but that doesn't erase what he's already done. And if he came through before, he will come through again. He's not going to abandon you now. Your situation may have changed, but his character hasn't. So when your heart is weary and your spirit feels dry, lean on what you know, not just what you feel. Trust his pattern, trust his presence in the past, and trust that the same God who carried you through yesterday will walk you through today and all your tomorrows. He's not just watching, he's working behind the scenes. It may seem like nothing is happening, like your prayers are going unanswered and your efforts are in vain. But God is never idle. Even when you can't see the evidence, he's orchestrating details you don't even know you'll need yet. While you're waiting, he's aligning people, positioning opportunities, and clearing paths that haven't even come into your view. He's not distant, and he's not passive. He's deeply involved in every part of your life, even the ones that feel silent. We often want immediate results, visible change, and quick clarity. But God specializes in the unseen. He moves in silence so that when the moment of breakthrough comes, you'll know it wasn't coincidence. It was divine. Sometimes he delays the visible to strengthen the invisible. Your faith, your patience, your character. Behind closed doors, he's molding you, preparing you, refining you. The preparation feels quiet, but the result will speak volumes. Think of the seed buried in the soil. It doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. It grows in the dark, roots taking hold beneath the surface long before you see the first green shoot. That's how God works. What looks dormant is developing. What feels still is active in the spiritual realm. You may not be aware of it, but God is making a way where there is no way. You don't have to see it to believe it. Just because the miracle hasn't manifested yet doesn't mean it's not in motion. Trust that he's not only watching your struggle, he's moving pieces together for your good. Every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer is part of the greater plan. He's not still. He's strategic. And when the time is right, you'll see what he was doing all along. Your breakthrough comes when you believe before you see. Faith isn't about waiting for the evidence before you trust. It's about stepping forward even when the proof hasn't shown up yet. It's easy to believe when things are falling into place, when prayers are being answered, and when the path is clear. But real faith shows up it's in the moments when you don't have the answers, when your situation doesn't match the promise, and when everything around you is telling you to give up. That's when breakthrough is born. God responds to belief, not just desperation. He moves when you choose to trust him in the dark, when you lift your hands in praise while your heart is still breaking, when you declare his goodness, even while waiting on the miracle. Belief opens the door for the supernatural. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's trusting that even in the imperfection, God is still in control. When you believe before you see, you're not just hoping for change. You're partnering with God's plan. You're standing on his word, even when your surroundings say the opposite. And that kind of faith activates heaven. It shifts your perspective, changes your atmosphere, and draws the breakthrough closer. Waiting is hard, but believing in the wait is powerful. It builds something in you that results alone never could. The breakthrough often comes not because everything suddenly changes, but because you do. Your heart aligns with God's will. Your vision sharpens. Your spirit strengthens. And when the breakthrough does arrive, it's not a surprise. It's a confirmation of what you've already believed. Faith isn't a backup plan. It's the foundation. Believe first, trust first, move first. That's where the breakthrough begins, before you ever see it with your eyes. You're not overlooked. When doors don't open, when your efforts seem unnoticed, and when others get chosen while you remain in the shadows. That quiet space can feel like rejection, but it's actually refinement. God hasn't forgotten about you. He's preparing you for something greater than what you're asking for. The spotlight you're waiting for isn't being withheld. It's being delayed until you're ready to carry it with grace, strength, and maturity. Preparation often feels like being left behind, but in reality, it's where God does his most transformative work. It's where he sharpens your character, deepens your faith, and develops the endurance you'll need for the next level. The private battles you're fighting now, the lessons you're learning in silence, they're all part of the process. You're being equipped in ways you can't fully understand yet, for places you haven't yet arrived. Just because no one is applauding doesn't mean God isn't watching. He sees your faithfulness, your consistency, your heart. Sometimes God hides you on purpose, not to punish you, but to protect you. Exposure too soon can crush what preparation is meant to strengthen. He's not interested in temporary elevation. He's building something that lasts. So when it feels like you're being overlooked, remind yourself, you're not forgotten, you're being forged. The doors that didn't open weren't rejections, they were redirections. And when the time is right, you won't have to force anything. The opportunity, the favor, the platform, it will come to you because you're ready for it. In this season, trust the process. Trust the quiet. Trust the wait. You're not in the background, you're in training. What God is preparing you for requires more than surface level readiness. What God is requiring from you first is rest from trying to appease white-collar victims. What God is required from you for requires more than surface level readiness. And when the moment comes, you'll see that every delay had divine purpose. God's plan will always be greater than your pain. It's hard to see that when you're in the middle of it, when your heart is heavy, your strength is fading, and nothing makes sense. Pain has a way of shrinking your world, making it feel like this moment of suffering is all there is and all there will ever be. But God doesn't operate within the limits of what you see or feel. His plan isn't canceled by your pain, it includes it, redeems it, and transforms it into something beautiful. There's not a single tear you've cried that he hasn't seen, not one ache in your soul that he doesn't understand. But he's not just a comforter in the pain, he's the architect of the purpose behind it. What you're going through now isn't the end of the story, it's a chapter. And even if the chapter is dark, the author is still good. He knows how to turn mourning into joy, ashes into beauty, and brokenness into breakthrough. Your pain may have caught you off guard, but it didn't surprise him. He's already woven it into the greater design of your destiny. Pain will shape you, but it won't define you. What defines you is the plan God has spoken over your life, the promise that he's working all things together for good. even the things that tried to break you. Sometimes the plan doesn't look like what you expected. Sometimes the journey hurts. But just because it hurts doesn't mean it's hopeless. God uses the very things you would have avoided to build the foundation for what he's calling you into. Hold on to the truth that your pain is temporary, but God's purpose is eternal. He wastes nothing, not even the hurt. His plan is still unfolding, and it is greater than anything you've lost.